Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Mythgard in Middle-earth. My name is Corey Olsen, the Tolkien Professor, joined as always by my friend Gryfflet, who has somewhat cheekily taken his place here on the dais, lower, obviously, than Aragorn. Well, doubly lower, because he's real short to start with. I think he's sort of feeling himself after finally finishing Pelargir. But then again, he's been on his own for so long, who even knows what he's been up to now in the time since I last saw you guys. But hey, welcome back. It's been, I think the last time that I did a Gryfflet stream was sometime late in 2019. At least that's what it feels like. I vaguely remember how to play this game, so let's see how we do. I was just looking at the quests, trying to remember where we are, and that is, I believe, doing the doing the area quests around Pelargir here, inside Pelargir, after we've done the epic battle thing. So anyway, all right. Well, I am so excited to be back. Thanks, Aragorn and Eldon and Elro here, and Angbor and everybody else. I gotta go. You guys, don't just stand around or anything. Like, you guys got somewhere to be, right? So, you guys hoof it. Meanwhile, I'm gonna continue to deploy that Lotro magic, right? And while this group of people goes charging off desperately, hoping to make it to Minas Tirith in time, if they row really fast up the river, I'm gonna go take care of some things in the neighborhood, right? Talk to some of the locals, maybe find another, some more of the Seven Sisters. Then I'll circle back around and I'll do the whole ride of the Rohirrim and everything, and I'll still beat them there. So I'd love it, just love it. Okay. Anyway, let's see. So I'm going to, the Great Company is posing for a group photo, and Gryfflet felt like he needed to be in on that. Yep, I did notice how the dead have gone. Oh, hang on, better put on my invisibility hat here. Okay, so I'm going to start with, I'm supposed to be meeting Angbor at the eastern gates of Pelargir, despite the fact that he was just standing right next to me in that little glade. I'm supposed to find and defeat terrified Haradrim near Eranos, and I'm supposed to talk to Faltharan in Pelargir. So I got 2 Pelargir quests. Now, I guess, the Sons of Pelargir, where's that one? That's the one, that's the which of these things is not like the other quest. Okay. That's in the Court of the Ship Kings, huh? Oh, no, that's not the one. The one that's unlike the others is the Chapter 1 one. Okay, so I think I'm gonna do the side quests first, and then I will resume with the there we go. I'll resume with that one. Unless you think, anybody thinks there's a good reason why I should do it the other way around and do the side quest up near Eranos first, and then do the Pelargir ones second. But I'm gonna go and I'm gonna clear the Pelargir ones, I think. All right, I've discovered Pelargir. Love it. Yeah, no, it's a good thing I didn't actually spend lots of time in here before, but I understand. Hey there, Mr. Stablemaster.
Troublesome times indeed.
They really are. They really are. Oh, look. It's Halbered. You thinking that looks like strikingly familiar there, Halbered? Yeah. And that has been noticed before. And there's Mandon, so they're just kind of sprinkled all around here. I'm totally going to end up going out and, collecting them all together or something. Or I'm going to be sent on errands, I have a sense. Okay, but that's alright. We're going to look around. What do we see? Why is there no water in this fountain? Shouldn't there be water in this fountain? Why are the fountains not working? And the potted plants are dead. Oh, man. Things are not in a good way in Pelargir here. I mean, I know it was just under attack and everything. And, you know, so you could, I guess, you know, neglect to water the pot plants while, you know, you're fending off invaders to the city and everything. But, yeah, it kind of looks like Olmo is taking a nap. Oh, who's this? Oh, you're just a guy? It's Barry-a-deer, presumably. Okay. Got your nice downward pointing Numenorian stars there. Okay. Alright. Look at the dead leaves all over. Something wrong with the trees here? It's not autumn. Shouldn't be autumn. Should be almost spring. Which I guess is reason enough for things to be mostly dead, but they... Am I wrong in thinking that other places we've gone in southern and like in like central Gondor here have had greenery? Oh, hey, look, it's the rope. Oh, these are... Oh, how could I forget this place with the grappling hooks over there and the, like, completely confusing action over here that I didn't understand at all. Yeah. Oh, no, this... Good memories. Good memories here. But, yeah, no, look, I mean, all the fountains are dead. All the... I mean, are dry, I should say. All of the... plants are withered. Yeah, as I say, I don't recall the other cities being as grim as this. In that way, I mean, as lifeless as this. Okay. All right. So let me go through to the market ward there. Okay. Yeah, I don't know that Icthelion actually had, like, direct authority over the fountain, did he? Like, authority to make it flow, I mean. It's too soon to refer to Icthelion of the Fountain being in Valinor. I don't know, man. It's been a while. I really think we might have reconciled ourselves to that before now. Okay, found a set of stairs. Here we go. And there's Roddenir enjoying himself, doing some lounging. Yep, they're just scattered all over the place as if they're waiting for some hobbit adventurer to be sent to find them and give them instructions or, I don't know, sort things for them. Sorting and filing for the Dunedain, just like the good old days. And in the central ward where the great battle was happening, now we just have training exercises. Okay. Yeah, pile o' wagons still smoldering, but we've already gotten out the target dummies. That's right, we're not going to be taken at unawares. Okay, so this is the market ward. Let me... Where do I have my... Let's see, what is this? No, that's the 21st hall. It's this one, right? Ost Anglebed. Yeah, let me grab the milestone over here. It's not an especially convenient milestone, but I'm gonna grab it anyway. I haven't very often had to use these in any case, but okay. All right. Well, what do you guys want to talk about? There's been a lot happening since I saw you guys last on July 8th. We've had Comic-Con happen and a bunch of other things. The New York City special screening of The Rings of Power first 2 episodes, which I'm not supposed to talk about because I told them I wouldn't spoil things. But yeah, so there's been a lot of things happening. There was a trailer for something. Yes, there was. An analysis of the trailer. Yeah, that's right. My new Rings and Realms show. That's going to be fun. Here we go. Here's Faltharan. Talk to Faltharan and Pelargir. I don't remember about what, so let's see. Let's see what happens here. Okay.
This darkness is a weight on my mind.
My wife has sent you. Yes, that's right. I'm heartened that she and my son are safe, but I cannot say the same for myself or my men. Although the battle has ended, many troubles still plague Pelargir. Well, I am here to mop up. Tell me what I can do.
But ill omens these days.
Your arrival in the city is well timed. When the city fell, my kin were presumed captured or dead. Fortunately, we have located them as hostages aboard the remaining hostile Corsair ships. My advisors say that a direct assault would be too risky, and since your reputation precedes you, I would ask you to sneak aboard their ships and rescue my family. Well, okay, my reputation has preceded me. If it's sneaking you need, I'm your hobbit. Captain Thandor is in charge of city defense and will be able to provide you with more information. Okay. All right. Sneaking on board ships and rescuing families. That sounds like fun. Exactly. What they need, Kendall, is a legendary burglar. Right? Okay. So over to the shipwrights ward, apparently, is where we need to go. Tolkir Yarani is. I wanna see. Hang on here. Let's go and find out. Is either one of these guys named Barrier? No, not even one. Okay, so there used to be a bridge, which was taken down. Lighthouse? Yep, I see smoke up there that looks like it's, you know, sort of there on purpose. Aha, yeah, I see your problem. Well, presumably most of these are the Corsair ships. They're going to be taken north with them. Some of these are going to be a problem for navigation. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I've been up to a lot of fun new things lately. Definitely the biggest one has been Rings and Realms. So for those of you who haven't heard about this, I have, through the kindness and generosity of the wonderful people who run this studio in New Hampshire. So these, the director of this studio, video studio, really high-end video studio, approached me and wanted to to just support Signum by helping us to make some video stuff. And I was, he was asking like, so, what, are there any projects that you'd been thinking about? And of course, like, no, I hadn't been, because it never even crossed my mind to be like, what projects would I do in a top-end video studio? Because that was like, sort of like asking, like, what would my house be like if I built it on Mars? Like, but anyway, So I started brainstorming with him after he asked, and I was like, well, I was thinking about doing an after show, an analysis show, The Rings of Power, and I didn't have any clear plans about that, and they loved it. They were like, oh, that's gonna be great. We really, so they were so excited to do a Tolkien show. So the whole crew jumped in, and so we've got the whole crew working on this thing. Everybody's really excited about it, and so I find myself in this crazily surreal position of, for the first time in my life, doing analysis and talking about Tolkien in this like high production environment, which is really fun, but kind of surreal at the same time. Like, for instance, on the first day of filming, I'm standing there and I was like, okay, so we had to, I was doing a segment, right? So I did the segment, talked for like 15 minutes. And I was like, okay, great. And then they were like, okay, that was good. Let's do another take. And I'm like, wait, what? What are you talking about? Another take? I've never done that in my life. You want me to do it again? Okay. So anyway, yeah, it's I'm not used to that. Not used to that. So yeah, it's fun because it's a fun combination. Like, it's not like the show's scripted exactly. Like, it's not. I'm still speaking, mostly extemporaneously like I normally do. It's the we're gonna edit it all together element that is so strange and different for me. But yeah, so Phil, exactly. Now improvise that again. Though it's actually kind of worked out because, of course, it's like quite different the second time I do it. It's not like I'm doing exactly the same thing both times. But when I do it the second time, different stuff comes out. So they kind of can then like take the like most interesting bits from both takes and edit them together. So it kind of works. It's just, yeah, the editing. Editing is the thing that I've never really had before on my on any videos I've ever been involved in. All right, let me get his quest here. Oh, look, it's a 3-parter, but it's just the rescuing 3 folks. Okay. Faltharan may trust you with this task, but that does not make it any easier. Well, no. I think it would make it easy. But anyway, okay, sorry. In order for this rescue to work, we need a way to sneak on and off the ships. Fortunately, we have no shortage of small landing craft. If you head to the docks right behind me, you should be able to find something suitable you can use to sneak aboard. Tread lightly. Hey, Tread Lightly is practically my middle name. So what do we need here? Struggle for freedom.
There's naught but ill omens these days.
During their assault, the Corsairs captured citizens from town and ship to serve aboard their galleys as slaves. Although we were able to halt their advance into Gondor, many remain trapped aboard their vessels. We no longer have the proper resources to mount a rescue, so I would ask for you to board the remaining Corsair-occupied ships and free any prisoners of war that you find. Absolutely. I'm just going to sneak, and it's going to be a whole, release from bondage thing. A small band of Corsairs managed to survive the battle to retake the city, and we can't have that. No, sorry. And forms a blockade near the eastern river gate. We don't want to destroy the ships, since the debris would delay our advance towards Minas Tirith. We need you to board these ships, defeat any remaining Corsairs you might find. This is our only solution to that blockade. Okay. So 10 Corsairs and the Corsair Taskmaster. Got it? Simple enough. Simple enough. Okay, so we're going to, this dock right over here. Okay, and there are the ships out in the way there. Anyway, so Drowsnake was asking, will Rings and Realms be year-round or concentrated on the time the show airs? It will be concentrated. So there's still some moving pieces, actually, involved in this whole thing. As I'm, we've been working out our plans for like the cadence of these next 7 weeks, because there's a lot to do. So we've been sorting that out. Boy, that sneaking was really pretty easy at the end of the day. Anyway, so so was that pretty easy. So Yeah, so while the Rings of Power show is happening, there's the first thing that's going to happen is I'm going to be doing sort of watch party things. And sorry if you hear this a lot. And there might be something else happening, but I'm not quite sure yet. That's unfortunately going to be a bit of a... I'm freeing the post. I can't free the slave. I have to free the post. Or I'm freeing him from the post. Be free from posts, captured slave. Anyway, so I think I might be... There's a chance that I'll be doing sort of a collaboration during maybe some of the live airing of, the immediate airing of the episodes. But at the very least, I'm going to do a watch party on the Signum Twitch channel, and then we can have a little bit of debriefing afterwards. Hey, found his daughter. Hooray. And then... Okay. All right. Can I go downstairs? No. Just go ship to ship, okay? Okay. Then the next day, like on the Friday, there might be something else happening that I also am not allowed to talk about yet. But then so then I'm going to be filming Rings and Realms. I'll be shooting, I think, on Mondays, and then the episode will drop on Wednesdays. It's a really tight turnaround. It's a huge amount of work for the folks at the studio, especially to turn it around this fast. It's really a lot of work that they're going to be doing with this. And I am enormously grateful and really admire their work. But anyway, so we're going to be dropping that by Wednesday night, maybe Thursday morning, depending how much time they need for post-production. And then on Thursday, Maggie and I are going to do Other Minds and Hands. So yeah, we are going to keep Other Minds and Hands going. And the reason we're going to keep Other Minds and Hands, so we're going to keep Other Minds and Hands going, but switch it to Thursday. And the primary reason for that is that, of course, the only downside that I see to Rings and Realms is that we're not able to do, interaction with the audience, because of course it's all pre-recorded in the studio. So that's going to be a sort of a more static experience than I normally have, being able to interact with you fine people during the course of the show. So that's the primary reason we're gonna continue to do Other Minds and Hands during the weeks that the show is airing. So our focus during the Other Minds and Hands time is really going to be on answering questions and talking to folks and everything. There is I'm working on. We might get some special guests during Other Minds and Hands as well, but we'll see. As I say, lots of things. You'd think you might be sitting there saying, surely, this is, wait, did I already set this guy free? He just respawned on the post? Huh. I think so. Right? Which... Hang on, did I set him free already? A wary extraction. Yeah, Celebros is the one I need, so I already got him. Okay, let's see. Is Celebros over here? That's captured slave. Oh, look, it's the Taskmaster. Yeah, this is definitely the ship I haven't done. Anyway, yeah, so you might be saying, like, why do I not know what all the plans are? Because it's like next week. Well, turns out that's actually considered by people really far in advance still. It's just kind of how they roll with this stuff. So I'm rolling with it, and we'll see what happens. But anyway, yeah. I could fix that by filming Rings and Realms before a live studio audience. Drow Snake, we have plans, actually. So I'm still working out the details of this. Again, common refrain, as I warned you. Sorry, man, you don't get freed, because I already freed my quota. I'm only allowed to free 6, so you're stuck, I'm afraid. Bad luck, but maybe next time there will be another hobbit that can help you. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, I don't need to kill that dude either. Okay, so I'm done killing dudes. Yeah, I know, it's like union rules. Okay, there's Kilabros there. Okay. What is this? Is his wife? Yeah, okay. All right. Anyway, so here's the thing. As soon as the drops of the show, the dates of the drops and timing and everything was announced, a little while back, I couldn't help but notice something interesting. And that is that by chance, unplanned by us, the finale of season 1 episode is scheduled to drop the day before New England Moot. So Saturday, October 15th is New England Moot, and we had been planning to hold New England Moot at the studio where we film Rings and Realms, right? And then I discover, to my surprise and delight, that the season finale is going to drop like 36 hours, less than 36 hours before the moot begins. So I was like, well, that seems serendipitous, right? So I think what we're going to do, what we're working on anyway, is to have a special add-on to the moot. So if people can't make it for longer, and I totally understand, a lot of people will only be able to try, be there on the Saturday or whatever. So you'll still be able to just like get just attend the moot on the Saturday. But people who want to come early could come and attend a live watch party at the studio, so we can watch the season finale on the big video wall that you'll see behind me on Rings and Realms. It's like a 15-foot by 50-foot video screen. That's really awesome. And so anyway, we can watch the season finale together on the big screen in the studio. And then on Friday, we can have people can also come around to be a live studio audience for filming some segments from the last Rings and Realms, the finale Rings and Realms episode. So I'm kind of, toying with that. Gonna see see how that works. You actually don't have to sit as far back as you might think, Phil. You can see it really well, actually. I mean, if you're standing like all the way inside the curvature of the screen, because it's curved. So if you're standing all the way like inside the curvature, you can't see the whole thing. But like when we're shooting Rings and Realms and they have the stuff on the video wall, I am inside the curvature, and I could. It's not like fuzzy or anything. I just can't. I have to turn my head, to see the entire screen. Whereas if you're back beyond the other side, it's just this like huge engulfing sort of experience. But yeah, so New England Moot is being held at the studio. So it's in Derry, New Hampshire, Studio Lab is the name of the place. Studio Lab in Derry, New Hampshire. So Studio Lab is where I'm filming. This is the wonderful, wonderful people. Both wonderful in the sense of being really, really good at their jobs and producing wonderful material, but also wonderful in the sense of being very generous and making this, like, it's remarkable in-kind donation to Signum of filming this show for us. And very likely more, as Mrs. Bennett from Pride and Prejudice would say. So yes, so that whole package then will be from the midnight on the 14th, which I consider the night of the 13th, and so the Friday at midnight, and then Friday the next day we'll do some shooting in the afternoon probably. In the studio in front of a live studio audience, and then we'll have the moot the next day at the studio still on set. We'd always planned to have that be our venue for the for the conference, but it all just kind of falls pretty well. So so it will. I'm gonna try to see. Well, of course, the moot itself, JJ, is going to be a hybrid moot like all of our moots, so people can and will be attending New England moot remotely. And we're going to have things sort of rigged up for that. Hybrid, like remote participation in the like live studio audience is going to be hard. We can probably do it. We can probably do something to sort of make that happen. It's not going to be the same, but we can try to do something. I think we will, but we'll see. It might be that the Friday studio experience maybe just for on-site folks, and then we do the hybrid moot, but because it's really not going to be the same. You'll be watching filming through a camera, right? So it's not exactly the same. Phil, we would have to do the watch party through the normal watch party rules. Like, that is, you have to have Prime in order to do it. But okay. All right, Thandor, I've got good news for you. You've probably heard already.
This darkness is a weight on my mind.
Now that you've found them, you were able to climb aboard without even our notice. Well, you didn't notice me. Well, they didn't notice me, so why would you? Now that you've found the missing nobles, we will be able to deal with matters elsewhere. The war continues to rage beyond the city, and we will need to be ready for what's next. For now, we will remember this as the day where the bloodline of Pelargir was saved. Okay, the bloodline, huh? Although this will leave many displaced refugees within our walls, this means fewer innocents being subjugated by the enemies of Gondor. Our next move is to make sure they find their way to some place that's safer. Okay, so this is the rescued slaves. You're not even going to be like... You were just talking about nobles? I thought it was your own personal family. Sorry. Okay, I've been told there are no more major groups of resistance left in the bay. No, took care of them all. Except that one guy, but he's not a threat. With that, our great city should be free from the Corsair threat. In the meantime, we can moor their ships and prepare for what is next. Okay, what is next? You have done Gondor a great service today. The lordship of Pelargir has survived its greatest challenge, and we are now ready for what is next. Please inform the Lord Regent. Oh, it's the Lord Regent's family. I see. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and yes. Sorry. Well, let me finish this. Please inform the Lord Regent we've located his family and that we have people tending to their injuries. I am sure that Faltharan would appreciate the news coming from you. Okay. So I thought it was Thandor's family. I expected this guy to be all grateful, and he's like, "Thank you for preserving the nobles of our city." And I'm like, "What? I'm not just here to support the aristocracy vaguely, right? I thought I was helping him." Anyway, Druid's Fire was saying there would be licensing issues unless Amazon granted me a special accommodation. Yeah, so they yeah, absolutely. No, it is I mean, they are going to be enforcing like that kind of rule. I mean, like, yeah, we can't just like stream the whole show for free to everybody, right? That's clearly against the rules for everybody. But yeah, so there's going to be, whenever we do a watch party, we'll be doing one of two things. We will, we'll generally be streaming the show using the Twitch watch party feature, which I've never actually used it myself, but I've heard from people who have that it works really well. And of course, what happens is then all the viewers they have to log on with their Prime accounts, so that, it confirms that everybody who's watching it has access to it, basically, and that we're not ripping it off for free. So it should be, easy enough to do. I'm interested in your sort of thoughts about this. Hang on. A relieved sigh. Very good. It pains me to know that my father is still missing. Dude, I didn't know your father was missing. I was only told to get your wife and kids. But I will try to carry on his legacy as best I can. The bloodline of Sirgon shall endure. Sirgon? Should I be looking for Sirgon? Did he fall in the river too, and you're giving him up for dead? Because I thought people would learn about that. But we have tough days ahead of us. But no matter what, Pelargir will stand as a testament to Gondor's defiance in the face of war. Why didn't you just ask me to find your dad?
There's naught but ill omens these days.
We haven't much time left. The Gondorian army intends to make its way upriver towards Pelennor. It pains me to say this, but we must abandon the city until the fighting is resolved. I intend to send the surviving refugees to Dol Amroth, along with my family. Pelargir will look after them there. I know that they will not like the news, but I would ask that you deliver it to them. Your actions have earned my trust, and I'm sure theirs as well. Oh man, assist is such a weighted verb in a quest, right? It suggests to me they're each one of them going to send me on errands. Hopefully, maybe one of them will think to tell me to go find Sirgon. But where are they hanging here? All in the shipwrights ward. Okay. Okay. It was Faltharan's mother, brother, and sister you rescued. No, one of them was his daughter. It definitely did. Oh, was it daughter of Sirgon? Ah. Okay, probably was, right? Yeah, daughter of Sirgon. Okay. So it's his sister. Got it. Okay. Look at this. Cereal's like right back in the kitchen. Man, she is dedicated to her art. I know exactly what that's like, actually. It's exactly like me. I wasn't rescued from being enslaved by Corsairs, admittedly. But this was like me coming home from Comic-Con. Right, like, Comic-Con, flight across the country, got home just in time to start cooking dinner. Like, I get home and my teenage sons are like, so, what's for dinner tonight? So there we are. I'm the main cook in my house, so. Look at all these poor people. Many are not even from here. They were abducted as the Corsairs sacked the countryside and taken to slave aboard the galleys. I've been told that we do not have enough food for all of them. Yep, errands incoming as I suspected. So I prepared some warm meals for our stranded friends. Look at you. Could you help me pass them around to any hungry refugees that you might find waiting on tables? I absolutely can wait on tables with a big old cauldron of hot food. Used the cooking pot. Feed the hungry refugees. Okay. Anyway, okay. One last question about the Rings of Power stuff that I wanted your advice on. So my plan, during a Twitch watch party, of course, we can stream the show, and then I could have, I could be on camera, and I could, talk as well, right? But everybody's going to be seeing the show for the first time, and even I'm going to be seeing it for the first time most of the time, most every week. So I was thinking of not talking, basically, because I don't want to distract people in their first viewing experience. And I'm going to need to focus on this. Actually, I should get everybody else's errands in case there's some overlap or something. Anyway, so my plan had been to just stream the show and then just have text comments so that people who want to do text comments can, but people who want to just focus on the show can ignore them. But that way, we can be doing some interaction during the show, but kind of less intrusively, and then we can sort of talk a little bit after the show is done. That was my plan. What do you guys think about that? Does that sound like a good plan, or what do you think of that as a proposition? Okay, then I'll get to Drow Snake's lore question. Okay, during the capture of the city, I lost an heirloom that has been in my family for longer than we can remember. It was the only thing I took with me when we fled Tol Kiryarani, and I cannot imagine leaving Pelargir without finding it. Could you help me? It would be located somewhere to the north of here, where a small band of us offered resistance against the Corsairs. Can I get any hints about what it might be that might help me find it? This is kind of fun. Like, search debris in the city and find a thing. You'll know a thing when you find it. Okay. Hey, somebody thanked me. That's nice. Faltharan told me about his plans to evacuate the city. There are still lots of pockets of criminal activity, so we'll need to make sure the guards are ready. I need you to deliver these orders to any guards stationed nearby. We will need them on alert for when we are ready to depart. Okay, so you're already making orders. Well, I guess that's, it's fine, right?
This darkness.
It doesn't seem quite as generous as, like, I'm cooking hot food for refugees, but I guess, we're trying to keep order. I get it. Okay, and I think there were some guards over. See, I should have just gone to all three of them right away. Yeah, exactly, JJ. There will be a text chat during the show. Yep. Have I heard about the new mini Lotro expansion that features Cardolan? Only a little bit. I've only heard bits and pieces. I haven't had a chance to watch the news about it. I've heard some rumors, so tell me more. It's going to include. So this is. Cardolan suggests it's going back in time as well as expanding space, right? Cardolan is exciting because, of course, that's sort of part of that map. I assume this means that we're going to get to go through that archway down south of Bree that we've never been able to go on before, like towards the general Tharbad region, hopefully. So, yeah, exactly. Tharbad, here we come. That's exactly right. Yeah. But it's interesting, right? Because, of course, one of the reasons we always wanted Tharbad is to connect the dots, right, between Enidwaith and Bree, so that you could ride all the way, the whole length of the Greenway, right, from Fornos down to Minas Tirith. But if that patch of it goes back in time, it's going to be kind of interesting. Of course, Gryfflet, in his completionist way, isn't going to get to the new time-traveling sections like the Battle of Azanul Bazaar and the Cardolan stuff until later on. Of course, it's going to be a little while before he gets there. But I think it's a really interesting move by them to be diversifying not just the geography of the map, that is not just opening new areas, but to be going, to be leaving behind, of course, now that the ring has been destroyed, the really strict time frame, right, following the time frame of the book that they've been working through, and instead exploring other eras of, it seems so far, right, Third Age stuff, principally. But Oh, right. It's Boromir's journey to Rivendell. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's right. I did hear that now that you're reminding me. Okay. Okay. And yeah, Druid's Fire says the area is level 1 to 30. Oh, right. We did get the last alliance during the High Elf intro, JJ. You're right. So we did sneak into the very end of the Second Age there. But if it's level 1 through 30, it suggests it's a new starting area, as Phil says, right? I mean, no point in putting level 1 quests in a place that's not a starting area. So Phil is speculating maybe river hobbits. That'd be interesting. Yeah. Won't this leave certain areas of the city a little vulnerable? Huh. I hope this guy's not just manipulating me and betraying the city or something. That would be unpleasant. Okay. I get to go down here. More refugees, presumably some of them hungry for a little cereal. Okay, very good. Yes, Tharbad is where Boromir lost his horse. Well, where Boromir and his horse got separated.
Ill omens these days.
Where he and his horse ended up going separate ways. And Boromir got to Rivendell, but at the end of the day got the shorter end of the stick, really. The horse was fine. Okay. Excellent. Well, hey there, Gizmo Penguin. Glad you could raid with us today. I was just getting he got the long end of the arrow. Ouch. I don't know, Kendall. Maybe a little too soon for that one. Ouch. Okay, I was just going to do my first lore question. Okay, this guy really objects to more people being sent to the docks. Everybody's upset about this. Okay, so hang on a second here. Do I have your lore question? Drow Snake. Okay. Why does the Silmarillion say that Frodo cast the ring into Mount Doom when we know from the Lord of the Rings that he was unable to? Was it for narrative simplicity, keeping with the summary style of the Silmarillion? Was it a lie by the author, like Bilbo's initial lie about acquiring the ring? Was it because Frodo brought it 99.9% of the way there, and chance took it the rest of the way, so he gets the credit for it? Phil, that is sorry, Phil transcribed it. Thank you, Phil, as always, for keeping track of these for me. Drasnik, it's a really great question. It's a really great question. And I would point out two things. There are two passages that immediately jump to mind as being relevant to this. Hang on, I still got some more folks downstairs. Two questions or two passages that I think are immediately relevant to this.
There's not but ill omens these days.
One is when okay, hang on. I immediately forgot the two passages I was talking about. Hang on, wait. There are two passages relevant to the question. Right, okay. One is in the Lord of the Rings itself, right? And I'm thinking about the coronation of Aragorn and what we overhear Eorith telling her kinsmen from the country, right? She talks to her kinsmen from the country, and she gives Frodo 100% of the credit, right? In fact, she tells an even further example. Not only does she give Frodo 100% of the credit for destroying the ring, but she says that he wrestled with the Dark Lord himself, right? And threw down his tower, right? She clearly doesn't really know about the ring. She doesn't really understand about the ring. She has, heard that the throwing down, the dark, Sauron has been, functionally destroyed and his tower thrown down, literally, quite fully and literally thrown down. And so, and she knows that Frodo is being credited with this, right? So she kind of we see her sort of awkwardly and rather implausibly filling in the gaps there, right? But nevertheless, the important thing, even so, leaving aside for a second the quite interesting question of the way that she expands that and makes Frodo's accomplishment not only greater than it was, but like massively and improbably heroic, right? As if he'd fought hand-to-hand combat with Sauron, and not only defeated Sauron in hand-to-hand combat, but then also threw down his tower like by hand, as if he were Luthien overthrowing the tower of the Dark Lord or something like that. Okay, this guy's worried too. Why would they pull people away from one of the only places where there's still a threat to watch over? I'm getting a bad feeling about this guy.
This darkness is a weight on my mind.
Okay. Oh, and here's debris to hunt through. Anyway, so that's one passage. And what that passage shows us is that the story in Gondor is clearly that Frodo accomplished it, right? Frodo is given 100% of credit. So the fact that Frodo failed at the Cracks of Doom, failed to give up the ring and throw it into the fire, and that but for Gollum's intervention, he would have failed completely and everything would have been lost, right? That is not remembered. I'm not saying it's going to be utterly forgotten by everyone, but it is not the main story that people are told. That's quite clear, I think, from that passage. But the second passage that I think then bears on this is another passage from Of the Rings of Power in the Third Age, which I should have said at first. Drowsnake is the part you're talking about, right? In the Silmarillion, that Frodo cast the ring into Mount Doom of the Rings of Power in the Third Age, right? So in Of the Rings of Power in the Third Age, do you remember what it says about how Frodo went to Mordor? Frodo from the Shire. Do you remember the next phrase after that, when it talks about him going to Mordor? I mean, this is it's the very memorable one that, of course, I've talked about many times before. Anybody remember the really emotion-provoking phrase that gets used? Alone with his servant. That's the one, Drowsnake. Frodo of the Shire, alone with his servant, entered the Black Land, right? Yes, alone with his servant. Sam not even getting named, right? Yes, alone with his servant. So, yeah. So what do we make of that? What do we make of that? What does that tell us? Well, what it tells me is that I think emphatically, clearly, that passage was not written by hobbits. Now, you could say maybe it just proves that passage was written by Sam, right? And I get that. Oh, wait, hang on. There's another. I missed a searching place. Oh. Quite close to the searching place, I think. Let me go back up. you could say, well, maybe Sam wrote it, and so that's why it's so humble. But I don't think so. I think that if Sam had written it, it simply wouldn't have. I mean, if he wanted to do that, it simply wouldn't mention him at all. I mean, it just would have said Frodo from the Shire. Oh, hang on. I found a metal object in the city. It's probably the one. An ash-stained lockbox. There we go. Okay. Exactly. Druid's Fire was just saying exactly the same thing that I just did. If Sam wrote it, he wouldn't talk about himself being there at all. Exactly. Yes, Kendall, I agree. People in Gondor would just see Frodo's servant floating above Sam's head. Exactly right. Anyway, I think that the simplest and most obvious answer to why there is that peculiar, and it seems in a sense almost unforgivable phrase, Frodo alone with his servant, so slighting of Sam, I think that proves it wasn't written by hobbits. So who is it written by? Who wrote of the Rings of Power in the Third Age? And I think it's pretty clearly written in Gondor, right? That's why I find the other passage relevant to this as well, right? So in the one passage, we can see what the story is, right? Sam gets credit for going with him, like they know that Sam was there, and they give him credit. I mean, he's highly honored for what he did, but Frodo is credited with the win, right? Frodo is credited with performing the act and overthrowing the Dark Lord, which is of course not true, strictly speaking, even though again he certainly deserves all the honor that he receives. But so we can see that the narration of the Rings of Power in the Third Age, especially that one moment about his servant, seems to mesh with the story in Gondor, and that's one of the things that suggests to me that he is that thing was written by Gondorians, and so therefore, I don't think it's a lie by the author. I don't think it's just for simplicity, though it does match the summary style. Perhaps they would have said more, maybe, about Sam, but saying his name would not have made it that much longer, right? It's clearly more than just a brevity issue. But yeah, so I think that's the picture that we're seeing. And a really interesting thing occurred to me about this, but I'll come back to this in a moment. Let me turn in these quests.
Strange darkness covers the sky.
Somehow I knew you would return with it. I know that it was selfish of me to ask for your help, but I know how much Faltharan wants us away from the war. I cannot replace what I've lost. It cannot replace what I've lost, but it can help me to forget, if only for a while. Okay.
Corsairs,
I was not expecting you to feed so many people. That's wonderful to hear. I feel better knowing that someone besides myself is looking out for these people. The tough times aren't over, but I feel like we've crested over the hill with today. Thank you. What, you calling me over the hill? Gryfflet's not that old. Okay. All right, you, Lorvegil. I want to hear some explanations. This should give us adequate protection from whatever criminal elements may be left lurking in the city. I can tell you're worried, but fret not. The gangs that remain have no interest in antagonizing the city's Gondorian host, and know that we intend to depart soon. Oh, what could happen? I'm sure everything's fine. Yeah, Drowsnake, you're right. Certainly no one in Gondor knew about Gollum except Faramir. Yeah, no, I think that's right. Yeah, and it's interesting because, of course, on the one hand, there's no real need to talk about the ring, but there's also no real need not to anymore, right? Other than maybe it would cause talk about the Elven Rings too, perhaps, and they'd rather people didn't do that. But even that seems a little bit less urgent at the time. Yeah. Oh, so yeah. Oh, hang on. Let me get this quest, and then there was that other thing I wanted to talk about concerning Frodo. Give me a second here.
This darkness is a way.
Faltharan listens intently to what his family told you. I understand. I am not surprised by how they all feel. There is much I would love to do before departing the city, but we do not have the time for everything. I'll be attending to the preparations. If my family has any tasks for you, I would ask you to offer your assistance. Man, I already did. You're going to make me do a second round, are you?
There's naught but ill omens
Okay.
these days.
All the plans are set, and we are finally ready to set our matters into motion. I don't know why I find that a funny phrase, but I do. Pelargir is a city that deserves to be restored to its former glory. With that, we will need to preserve its people as well as its bloodline. We cannot protect everyone from the storm that has arrived, but we can try to steer them away from it. I understand that my family wishes to speak before their departure. Will you accompany, Gryfflet? Okay. Let's hope there are no, horrible revelations of treachery or anything. Let's make our way to the docks. That's where it's all going down. Here's Lorvegil, acting innocent.
This darkness.
Here we stand. The sky grows bleak every day, but these ships represent symbols of hope for our city. I intend to have my mother and siblings aboard those ships before they depart, and will see to that matter personally. Like yourself, they have been valuable allies in maintaining the stability over the city as we played host. I only wish that someday the fighting will end and we can return to rebuild this place. Don't we need those ships for something else? Shall we speak with my family? Yeah, how about Lorvegil last? Let's save the worst for last. This ship is almost ready to depart, Mother. Do not fret, for there are still many places to search for Father. I will be on it, my son. The city is yours, but there's nary a thing left for me here. Just remember what I taught you. I shall do my best to honor his traditions. Okay. We're just giving up on Dad real quick, though, right? Okay, Okay, here we have Sister. Cereal, my wonderful sister, are you ready to set sail? I do not wish to go, but I understand why. Even still, promise me that you will keep looking for Father. Yeah, she's not giving up so easily. If our father is still out there, then I shall find him. I promise you that. Because I totally don't have him locked in a box somewhere. Where are you walking? These vessels sail towards peaceful waters, and for that I am relieved. Didn't talk to your brother.
This darkness is a weight on my mind.
I wonder what will come of this. Will people return to the city someday, or will they try to make new lives elsewhere? Many of us are too old to begin anew. The guards seem to have everything in order. I think we can depart from here. Okay. That's it. Like, every minute I've been expecting shouts to break out and the treachery to be revealed, no? Okay.
There's naught but ill omens these days.
And so the ship has left our gates to make way towards the western coast. It had to be done, Gryfflet, for I cannot guarantee their safety here nor my own. Hopefully, it will reach Dol Amroth without incident. I would only expect to set my mind at rest once I've heard word from them, but until that day comes, I must carry out my duties. Okay, but when does your brother's betrayal become clear?
This darkness is a weight.
I've heard rumors which are unsettling. It is believed that the Corsairs were let into the city by someone from within. I'm blanking. I can't even think of a single candidate. I do not know who would have done this, though I've heard the name of every captain and noble thrown around, including myself. Close, not quite. I want this dealt with. You and Thandor are the only two I could trust with this matter, so I would ask that you seek counsel with him. I mean, Cyril wasn't feeding them. I mean, I guess if the refugees all drop dead, then we might seem to have an issue. Okay, anyway, so here... Oh, no, I'm just going to go talk to this other guy. So let me finish that. Then I'll tell you the conversation that I had at 4:30, well, closer to 5:30 a.m. in New York City the other day. It is most perplexing, Gryfflet. Despite the havoc they wrought, the Corsairs seemed able to take the city without much resistance. My men were not able to find anything of note at the eastern river gate, but I suspect that we may find something at one of the other gates. Surely if the gates were opened, then it would probably have happened with more than just the one. Start with the eastern river gate and make sure not to overlook anything too small. How about we just interview what's his name? But okay, we'll start with the river gates. East one, though. This one. Okay, so let me tell you about... So, on Tuesday night, after the screening in New York, screening ended at about 11:30. We went back to the hotel restaurant and had snacks and drinks and talked. Because, of course, we'd all just seen the first two episodes for the first time. And then... But the hotel restaurant kicked us out at like 1:30 a.m., and we were not done talking because a bunch of us were leaving the next day. So we went out to a nearby Irish pub, which let us stay until about 4. But then we had the problem, which, you know, tends to happen, which is that got really hungry, and had munchies, but not enough. So hang on. A stray note on the ground catches your attention. If only I could turn myself. Okay, there we go. So we went out to so then we found a 24-hour diner and had breakfast at like 4:30 in the morning until about 6:30, which is when I had to go back to the hotel to go catch my plane. Anyway, over breakfast, we were having this conversation about Frodo, and it was talking about sailing into the West, but it was it's kind of what the topic of this of the conversation was to begin with. Took the note. Oh, I made a mistake coming here, did I? You think? I don't know. I'm still 4 levels up on you guys, and I'm pretty burglarious. By which I mean I'm more or less like a little guardian or champion. Okay, are we done, ruffians? Okay. Anyway, so here's what I was reflecting on. Thinking of the state of Frodo's spirit. Frodo was wounded, of course, and was dealing with the trauma of having been wounded. But one of the things that I think Frodo had to deal with, which I believe is underrated by a lot of readers, at least I know it had been underrated by me for a long time, is dealing, Drow Snake, exactly with the kind of story that we've just been talking about. Imagine Frodo at Aragorn's coronation, right? Being treated like it was due to his actions that this was able to happen, when he knows, he remembers failing, right? I gotta think that's gotta be really hard for him. And he's going to be, given the stories that are circulating about him, he's going to be embarrassed at the least, mortified possibly. It would be hard to deal with. Exactly, Drow Snake. It's got to eat you up inside. And there are some of the things, like, I think that Sure, part of his state at the end of the book, right? The reason he leaves is that he's been physically wounded and the marks of that are still on him. The pain remains. The after effects are real. Part of it, of course, is the loss of the ring and the sort of spiritual trauma that the loss of the ring, the destruction of the ring does to him. But I have to think that the guilt has to be a major thing. He knows he failed. But nobody acknowledges that he failed. Anyway, so I was reflecting on that. As I said, I hadn't really been reflecting on that before. But apparently 5 o'clock in the morning at a 24-hour diner in New York City was the time to think about this. But anyway, Drowsneck, I just wanted to bring that up because I think that's, again, I think about that account, the Rings of Power in the Third Age, and I based on the evidence, as I say, I think it's very likely to be a Gondorian record, and therefore seems to me put forward as typical or relatively typical of the accounts in Gondor, and that certainly jives with the way that Frodo is treated, not only by Eorth but by everybody, right? The gifts that are heaped upon him, and even the way Aragorn, talks to him. Imagine you're Frodo, knowing you failed, right? Knowing you claimed the ring, knowing if it had really been in your hands, the ring would never have been destroyed and Sauron would have won, right? And then, reading this account, hearing Aragorn say to him, that he has no gifts to match his deeds. Frodo knows what his deeds were, right? And again, I'm not trying to minimize Frodo and saying he did nothing and whatever. I'm just saying it's got to be hard. It's got to be one of the things that he's kind of dealing with, right?
This darkness is a weight
Okay.
on my mind.
These orders bear the seal of Sirgon? This cannot be. It would mean that the lordship itself is responsible for the fall of the city. I know Faltharan too well to think he would have had a hand in this, but I'm almost too afraid to ask. Those men who tried to attack you are part of a larger group. They've made the Eastgarth their own personal haven. Why they would want these orders has me concerned. We have some fairly strong empirical evidence here.
There's naught but ill omens these days.
Not every person who held out against the Corsair siege was an upstanding person. Many were in fact thieves and brigands who banded together in the face of a larger threat. Ever since the city was retaken, they've done nothing but harass, threaten, and harm anyone that crosses their path. Because they've been encroaching so deeply into the city, I'm wondering if you might be able to send them a message that we will not be pushed around. Okay.
This darkness is a weight on
After the battle, we noticed that some of our supply catches had began to mysteriously dwindle. We traced this back to a group of ruffians. Okay, those ruffians. Bring back any supplies you might find from that place. Okay.
There's naught but ill omens these days.
Every group has men who know about all sorts of rumor and gossip. These ruffians are some of the only witnesses left to the fall of the city, so I'm sure that one of them knows something about where my brother is hiding. If you can enter the abandoned district that's located at the Eastgarth of Pelargir, then I'm sure you'll find someone who has more information, and I think I might know who it is. All right. Let's get to the bottom of this. The ominous rumblings. Okay, so we're going... Okay, right. Back over to where we were. All right. Okay, so hey, I see you guys are talking about the rights deal. Let me. I have a few comments on that if you're interested. Okay, what's it called? The what's the name of the Wait, was Thandor talking about his brother? I'm confused. Okay, yeah. So the rights sale that just happened. These things are all very, very parceled out. The rights deal. This is the original rights deal, right? So the original rights deal was for film and stage rights for The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. This was extended by legal decision to include gaming rights. So games, movies, also, by the way, merchandising as well. So the merch rights, this is why, by the way, have you noticed that there are no, I guess I can't get up there from there. I gotta, right? There was no way up. So I gotta go to the other bridge. Oh man, it's gonna go all the way around. You'll notice that there's been no merch for sale. Have you noticed this for the Rings of Power? Despite all the marketing and everything else going on, you have not seen a single speck of merch other than book covers, right? And like ice cream, that weird ice cream thing with the Mordor flavored ice cream, which I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of curious about, but I haven't tried any of it. But yes, a distinct lack of Rings of Power Lego sets. JJ is absolutely right. But anyhow, so it's because they do not have the merch rights. The merch rights go through Middle-earth Enterprises. And there has not been any merch. You've not seen any merch for a good reason. However, the Amazon rights... Am I in the right place yet? No, I'm not. Getting there, though. The rights that Amazon purchased was the TV rights to The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings and the appendices. And so it covers TV shows of, I believe, 8 episodes or more per season was the specification there. That is to define a TV show. So that's what the Amazon rights were for. Now, so you might think, well, that covers much less than the other deal. Yes, in some senses, but I think we saw Amazon pay a massive sum of money for the TV rights, and yet not pony up for this other set of rights when it was for sale. And I don't think any of us has very much doubt that they could have afforded it if they wanted to, right? I don't think they were merely outbid, by the Embracer Group or whatever I always get that company's name wrong. Whatever. I think what it shows you is what Amazon's priorities are. I don't think they were interested in the film rights. I don't think they have any interest in making feature films. TV is where they're focused. They don't want to make movies. Now, it includes the game rights too. But I can also tell you from personal experience that Amazon is equally obviously not real committed to games. They have a game studio, but they have not committed. Let me just, because I've told you guys before, I was consulting on the Amazon game studio MMO that they were working on, and it was going to be awesome. And also, by the way, sufficiently very, very different from Lotro, so that it would, it was not just going to be trying to we're going to do just like Lotro, but upgraded or something like that. It was going to be very, very different, and I think, therefore, sort of really compatible with Lotro. But anyway, whatever. It got canceled, and it got canceled simply because, like, the legal department didn't care. Like, they could easily have... It was just, like, legal disputes over, like, articulations of the rights. And they ended up just backing out and canceling it and saying, like, well, we're out of, like, the Tolkien gaming thing. We don't care. I mean, that's the message I got from that. So, and again, I see that message again in the fact that they didn't bother to pony up for these rights. The one thing that is a little bit puzzling to me is the merch. I would have thought the merch rights would have been worth having. But again, it just does not seem to be, the evidence suggests that it just was not their priority. I don't know exactly why, but they just don't really seem to care about that. But there's no conflict. The rights cover very different things. So anyway, but yes, that does mean that the new company, Embracer or whatever they are, who just bought the rights, yes, they are now the parent company that controls the rights deal that Lotro is working under. That is correct. But I've heard a lot of people say, like, oh, Amazon just, like, missed a huge opportunity. I don't really think so. That is the reason I don't think so, is that if should they ever find themselves thinking that is, should they ever find themselves, like, kicking themselves, they'll just buy the parent company that bought the rights. I mean, whatever. That is to say, I imagine they could easily do that. But anyway, yeah, and I agree with Druid's Fire. There really is no. I really don't think that it is. I really don't think that it is gonna institute a major change. There are a lot of people who are like, and now what's gonna happen in the new world? Like, it's not really a new world. It's possible that there will be some new impetus for particular things or whatever, but I don't see any reason to think that the new, the company that now owns the rights is going to be like, and we're going to clean house and, cancel everything that existed and stop or whatever. Like, I don't, I might be wrong, but I'll be surprised if there's a massive disruption. If anything, there might be more things. That seems to me the most likely outcome, but I can't see them just going around and messing with stuff for no reason. Yeah. But yeah, so I would certainly not freak out about it. Certainly not. Now, JJ was asking, would it be possible for the people who have the merchandise rights to make the Rings of Power merchandise if they license it from Amazon? Maybe. I don't know that Amazon would do that. Yeah, I mean, I imagine that they would have to license it from Amazon, because Amazon would own the rights to its stuff, right? So they couldn't do Rings of Power stuff without Amazon's permission, and they'd have to sort of work that out. I guess, JJ, I would kind of translate that in a sense to, would it be possible for, like, Embracer and Amazon to work out a separate merch deal? Yeah, I think it would. And I think, honestly, that that's probably what they're thinking. If they decide that they really, really want merch and that that's going to be a good idea, they can probably work out a nice, lucrative merch deal. which would help Embracer to defray the cost, the money that they just spent on the other rights deal in the first place. And I could easily see Amazon saying, we don't really need to be the people who control all merch for everything. Like, we don't want that job, right? And if we really, really, really want merch for the Rings of Power, we can probably, cut a deal and make that happen. They can license it, right, through Middle-earth Enterprises. So for a fee, but again, they can probably pay it. So it's really seems to me a choice for them not to have merch, really. Yeah, no, I agree, Druid's Fire. I'm not disappointed at the lack of merch, really. It's just different. That's all. It's just different. Yeah, JJ, exactly. I don't think they want to be in that business. But you know what they are in the business of? Selling books, right? I mean, that's the roots of Amazon. And the word on the street is that that's one of the things that the Tolkien estate and HarperCollins liked. It's one of the little features that they liked in Amazon's original proposal. One of the reasons why they chose Amazon instead of others who were also bidding for the TV rights originally. And that is one of the things that I believe that Amazon kind of attached to it was, and we'll sell more books. We'll make a focus on selling books because that's what we do. And you can see it. Haven't you seen it? Haven't you seen the way that they're pushing the audiobook through Alexa, the way that they're billboards for the Lord of the Rings books in New York City? I saw one. Buy the Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien on Amazon with, of course, needless to say, the TV tie-in covers, right? But it's all there, right? They're pushing the books hard. They just started a book club. I got an email about this because I'm a Prime member, so I just got a generic Prime. I could email up. If you're a Prime member, you probably got it too, because if you're a Prime member who has bought a copy of The Lord of the Rings before, which describes me, then you will have gotten an email today, I think it was, announcing that there's a new Lord of the Rings book club that they're pushing. I mean, that's what they're doing, right? That's very clear. Anyway, yeah. OB87, I think you are quite wrong to say that you. I respect your opinion that you think the show's going to flop and everybody's going to hate it. I've seen it, and I believe you're going to be quite wrong about that. I really do. Yeah. I'm just, it's not a statement of my own desires. I'm just saying it's not going to be a flop. I've seen it. It's really good. It's not going to be a flop. Anyway, Edith says, I bought the Andy Serkis audiobooks, but I returned them. Do I still qualify for the book club? You know what that's making me think, Edith, right? Can I still return them? Oh, it's fine. It's research. Okay, so the fancy lord sends his little stooge to parley. You're making me laugh. Sure, I know where your precious little noble is hiding out, but I ain't saying a thing unless the price is right. Oh, you didn't come to bargain? Guess we'll have to settle this the only other way. Pretty noble is under our guard, and you would do well to scram, huh? Okay. Okay, you can have the traitor, just leave me out of your petty squabble. Okay, so we've decided the hard way was a little too hard for you. Where is he? In the wine barrels? JJ thought Andy Serkis' narration improved a bit for The Lord of the Rings from The Hobbit. Dude, I do not share that assessment. I really don't. But anyway, it's fine. I'm not here to gripe. And I totally, like, I know many people really love the Andy Serkis reading, and I'm not here to try to rain on your parade if you do. It's totally fine. I'm more than happy to. The only thing that's going to make me rage is if Audible ever tries to pull the Robert Inglis recording from my library, leaving me only with the other. Then I'll be mad. Just as I'll be mad if they leave me only, if they pull my my old Watership Down recording. Okay, so no, I thought I was getting the Noble. No. Edith, I didn't quite make it all the way to Weathertop. I made it to. No, wait. I did. I made it to the ford. But I couldn't any further. I was angry. His Tom Bombadil was insulting. To Tom Bombadil, I mean. It's usually like I was dealing with like anger while I was listening to it, and I'm like, I can't have this in my life. Basically. Belangsmond, you're absolutely right. Some of Martin Shaw's pronunciations in the Silmarillion recording are incorrect and kind of odd. But I mean, that's just a little, it goes by, and I mispronounce names too. Like, I'm not going to cast stones about that. I could wish he didn't, but whatever. Like, it's, that's just like a very occasional annoyance. But anyway, yeah. Who would I like to see narrate a Lord of the Rings audiobook? Robert Inglis? Seriously, I love Robert Inglis is such a good narrator. If I had to say what I would want, my ideal would be, I love Robert Inglis' narration. Like, his narration, when he's reading the narrator, he's so good. I don't mind his voices, though I agree, like, Andy Serkis and many others are much more talented voice actors. I think it would be fun to have a full cast recording of an unabridged Lord of the Rings. That's what I think would be really fun. As far as whom I would cast in what roles, well, that would take some time now, wouldn't it? But yeah. Druid's Fire, yes. Benjamin Walker pronounces Gil-galad correctly, unlike me. It's absolutely true. They have all been well coached. Leith McPherson knows what she's doing, and she was actually commenting. She was on James Tauber's channel, and he did an interview with her, and she was made a little comment on how proud she was of the actors and how careful they were all being in their pronunciation of the names of their and other characters, and even politely correcting the press about that and stuff. She was feeling this sort of like maternal pride to see her, teacherly pride to see her students performing so well. Okay, that's just not the button I meant to hit. Okay, Thandor, you handled yourself well against a pretty dirty sort of outlaws. Okay, great. Yeah, that wasn't really much of a problem. I forgot your supplies. Right, every little bit will aid the war effort. Agreed. Now the big one.
This darkness is a weight.
So that's where he's hiding. I can only imagine what will go through his head when he realizes how easily these curs sold him out for nothing. I guess even traitors can't buy loyalty. We will need to make preparations if we're to apprehend him. I shall offer my counsel to Faltharan and hope that he accepts it. I thank you for your service to this city. That's it? I thank you for your service?
This darkness.
Help me convince Faltharan of his mistake. He intends to confront his brother by himself without anyone's help. I tried to convince him to take some of my men with him, but he's grown distrustful of me after not telling him about our investigation. I only wanted to protect the Lord Regent. Could you speak with him? If I have fallen from his graces, then perhaps you can convince him not to do this alone. Drousnik, you're right. I do have a lot of unspent trade points, don't I? Yeah, hang on. Gosh, when was the last time I did that? Hang on, yeah. Whoa, look at that. Am I maxed? Is that why? Yeah, I maxed the red line. Right? No, I still got some extras in here. Let's max it. Okay. Okay. Now the red line's maxed. Yeah? Okay. So now what do I do? Oh. See, I think I remember now why I didn't do this. Because I don't understand blue line or yellow line. And yeah. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Red line is enough for me. What more could a poor hobbit ask? Okay, anyway, off we go. Not doing it alone. Not doing it alone. By the way, have I gotten... No, I haven't. I was looking to see if I got any more stuff. You know, any more cosmetics. Oh, did I at least accept the changes to the red line? Oh, you mean like apply them? Sure, I can do that. By the way, I cannot tell you how many times I've forgotten to do that, where I just click on it and then forget there's a separate button I have to hit. I used to do that all the time. And as I haven't even looked at my traits in a long time. Okay, Faltharan, if I can interrupt you to point out that you're being a fool. I know why you're here, but this matter is too important to leave to anyone else. I'm not asking to leave it to anyone else. I'm just asking to let me accompany you and protect you when your brother tries to kill you. I understand Thandor's concern, but I need to be the one to deal with this. Otherwise, the bloodline of Sirgon will be forever tainted with whispers of treason. This guy has a really elevated view of his own house, I gotta tell you. You've been one of my greatest allies in these dark days, and I would be honored to have you by my side. See, that's fine. That's all I wanted, man. Have me by your side. It's all good. Oh. I thought he had a sword, but he doesn't have a sword.
Gondor needs your aid.
Wait, there's some on the top? Which ones? Like just these ones, you mean? Oh, like stealth levels? Yeah. Okay. All right. I got you. I hear what you mean. Damage over time. Sure. Okay. There we go. Got a little bit of that. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Good call. Good call. Okay. The information you provided suggests that this is where we will find my brother. I shan't take joy in facing him, but will rest better knowing that justice has served this day. Here is where our search ends, but tread lightly. He has fallen in with an unsavory sort and is undoubtedly using them for protection until the coast is clear. Okay. You're not going to see me, but trust me, I'm here to defend you. Whoa. Didn't expect you to run in that direction, though. No problem. Look at how much faster I am in stealth than you are. It's insane. Oh, man, these guys are kind of stacked. These guys are as bad as that Taskmaster Okay. That was quite the challenge. Yeah, they were, they were a little bit tough. Whoa. This is quite a crowd. Okay. There he stands. Okay, here comes the confrontation. Dun dun dun. Lorvegil, I only want to know why. Was there anything to gain from a betrayal like this? It doesn't matter. In any case, you should be grateful that father is nowhere to be found, leaving behind this hollow shell of a city to his prized son. Ah, oh, it's a daddy issue thing. I do not intend to be put up on display for the whole city to marvel at how the great Faltharan overcame a personal struggle and brought his little brother to justice. I would sooner perish. Defend yourself or you cross the wrong person. Okay, not gonna lie, for a moment there, several moments really, I was thinking that we were going to discover that Lorvegil was not actually the traitor and that it was actually the father all along. Like the missing father was going to turn out to be the traitor and there was going to be shock and alarm and everything else. Just kill me and be done. Well, hang on, we're getting to it. I'm trying to... Okay. Just need to get rid of these last ads here. Okay. I think not. A swift death would be far more than you deserve, Lorvegil. Okay, sorry while we had to dispatch those other dudes. It is done.
Troublesome times indeed.
He may deserve death for what he did, but I will not stand in judgment of him so long as our father remains missing. I am no longer an impartial subject with this matter. We shall take him back with us, and I would have him rot in private. Yes, that's what he said. I would have him rot in private with all the time to consider his treachery. Maybe the true Lord of Pelargir will return to stand in judgment. I thank you for helping me close this dark chapter. Okay, I thought a twist was coming, but it hasn't come. I know, Kendall, I'm telling you, just check the river. I see if, anyone has found him.
There's naught but ill omens these days.
And with that final bout of treachery, we see the legacy of Sirgon for what it truly is. A traitorous son, and another who was completely unaware. He will face punishment for what he has done, but with war at our doorstep, I cannot be making time for personal justice right now. That day will come when the skies are once again bright. I thank you for everything. Oh man, and all I get is essences? So disappointing. Let's go with critical rating. Okay. Okay, I'll put the tracery in the tracery box. Okay. No twist, huh? Okay, and with that, I believe we have at exactly the ending time for my stream finished all of the side quests here in Pelargir. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's pretty good. Except I don't even have a vector quest. Hang on a second. Did I get a vector quest? Not the festival quest. Hang on, where am I going next? Upper Lebanon? Anything in Upper Lebanon? I don't think so. Is there a no Lebanon? Introduction to Eastern Gondor. Okay. It's this one, right? Yeah. Okay. The Eastern Gates of Pelargir. Okay, there we go. There's our vector quest. Okay, good. I like to have my path clear before me. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining me. As I say, I've missed you guys. And of course, I've seen many of you in other places. But it was fun getting reacquainted with Gryfflet here today, going about Pelargir and having some fun discussion with you guys. Stay tuned for Druid's Fire, and I hope to be back. I don't think I will be... Well, maybe I will be here next week. I'm going to plan on it. I should be available for next week's Gryfflet. But next week will be the beginning of the adventure. Next Friday will be the first day of the new situation for the next 7 weeks. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, thanks everybody, and I will see you guys soon. Bye now. Thanks for joining in on my rambles around Standing Stone's brilliant digital adaptation of Tolkien's world. If you enjoy these adventures, please consider supporting this and other entertaining educational programming by donating at signumuniversity.org/fund.